Alright, so I washed my hands because you got residue on your hands. Oh, I forgot to clean this out. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I just gotta swab it out. Ling-a-ling-a-ling-ling. Try not to touch that element. If you don't touch it, you don't have to clean it. And then I use the other end of this to dry it out. Alright, that looks super clean. Looks good to me. Here we go. Alright, so where do we begin? We start with the blades. Boo! Alright, so like I said, we're going to be stacking them on top of each other. And this takes a lot of patience because it's so far down inside there, it makes it a real pain. So this tab on the bottom will fall back into the hole. And you want the blades to all be open as if it's wide open. And then we'll rotate this ring on, and I'll show you how to put that on. Here I go. Alright, so we put the last blade in. You want to drop it so it's on this side of the lug like I explained, and then you gotta, pressing down, you want to rotate it and then slip it back under. It's quite the process. I don't know if you guys can even see that, but it's under. Oh, done. Okay, so one of my blades just slipped out. Okay, so now very carefully, we're going to put this back on, and this finger is going to stick out of, this is where that lever from a screw goes, that was glued in, that rotates there, but this is going to be on the same level, so lower than these ones. It comes through there. So you're going to want to slip that in, make sure that the raised area is on top, and make sure your blades are all open, just open, don't spread them super wide, just around the rim of the element kind of thing. We're going to slip this under, you're going to want to put it like this. Okay, so you can see the lugs, they're available there, but it's still not seating all the way down. So what you're going to want to do is take a tiny little screwdriver, and you're going to move, you can either move the blades in and out. There should be a space through here where you can move the blades in and out. And then also the nice thing about these lugs are that they have holes in them, and you can actually put a screwdriver in them, just the tip, and rotate them so that everything lines up, and while you're pressing that ring down, because you don't want those blades to come up. Alright, that was fairly easy. I've done it before where it's taken a while because you gotta line them all up. Just press the blades. Okay, so that's finished. That is the toughest part, so we're done. Now you can see the apertures opening and closing. Now we're going to put on, is it this one next? So you're gonna, this is the screw hole here, and it's gotta come out through here anywhere, so it's a pretty large area that you can't really miss it. And you want this lug up because this is gonna rotate on the back side of this thing. So there's the screw hole. We're going to put this back in. I'm not going to glue this. It's super tight as it is. It's probably got enough glue residue that's not going anywhere. Alright, so that's in there now. Now we put in this. Okay, so here I need to explain this a little bit, or you guys will be really frustrated trying to get this in. Where are you going? Where are you going? Alright. Okay, so you need to have inside of here, I don't know if I can show you there, okay, So this is what the spring wraps around on. It will be on, shoot, where'd it go? Okay, so you're gonna wanna have the long straight part of the spring on the inside of the inside of this ring, on the inside of this lug. That way this spring is pressing, this side of the spring with the curved part is pressing up against the wall inside there. And then when you put this in, now here's the kicker, is that when you put this in, it's frustrating, but there's a ridge in here, okay? Where they cut away the inside and there's a ridge. And you have to get over that ridge. So what the best way to do it is you're gonna slant this in slightly when you put it in. That way this gets past the ridge while it's still loose in there, because as soon as you get to that ridge, it tightens up. It comes to a smaller area. And so you want to get this past that tighter area before the rest of the ring, because if you don't, then this will jam up underneath and you'll never get it down inside. So what you need to also remember is that that silver ring that we dropped in, or the black ring we dropped in with that silver little notch sticking up, the little peg sticking up, in that ring there's a cutaway where that silver part sits into. So this is cut away from here, and you have to make sure that you're putting this in that area, and you almost want to have it more to the right because you can always slip it back to the left. Yeah, so let's drop it in. Hopefully we get it. So we're angling it like this and sliding it down, and then we're going to straighten it. So what you need to remember, and I forgot about this, is that because this is spring loaded, you need to play around with this. But so you got the brass piece with the little knob on here, and you need to pull that back because what's happening is you have that silver piece that sticks up. So pretend that this is my brass piece, brass lever, and this is that silver piece. So what we did was I dropped it down and went on top. So I couldn't put this ring back down. So you need to take, there's a little knob on that brass piece that you can put your screwdriver on and just open that lever because it's spring loaded, just so it comes off of there, and then drop it down and then back. I hope that makes sense. So we're in now, and then this raised area that was sticking up I told you about earlier, it needs to be on the left hand side of, so on this brass piece there's another lug, that silver one that we rotated. You can use this, I'll show you, maybe I can show you. There, so you can see I'm moving that lever with that, and that's how you get it off that silver stem sticking up. But it needs to be on the left hand side of that raised piece, which is this sticking out. So this is on the right of that lug on the left. And that's gonna push, they're gonna push each other. So now that's all in. We can rotate this ring, and we're gonna rotate it, and we're gonna find a nice glue spot, and we're gonna rotate so we can see that screw hole, and we're gonna drop a screw in there, and then we won't tighten it, but just to get my screws started. Okay, so we're only going to put 2 screws in, because this third one is what we're actually going to eyeball this whole thing up. So you're going to want to make sure that you can see the marks from where the last screw was and the glue, because we left the glue. And we're going to rotate this so that it's perfectly centered, and then while we're holding that, we're going to tighten these, the two that we put in. And then we know that we're getting perfect F32, right? F32? Yeah. Because it's exactly how it was. And what I actually do is, because there's glue on the screws, that's why, sorry, I should explain this. There's the screws and then the glue. Because the glue is still there, we can actually butt the screws in exactly where they were. And because the glue is surrounding, you know that it has to be perfect F32. So now that this is in here, let's see if it works. So that's working perfectly. And then this opens and closes the aperture. And look at that. So it's perfect. Looks awesome. Now we drop it back in. And to do that, so you got, what we're going to do is you slide this all the way to the right, I think. I'm going to double check. This is F32. No. That's F32. Okay, so all the way to the left. And then this, I think that you move it to the right. I just don't remember. We're going to have to test it, try it. But what this is going to, and this is the long one, and then like this wide and this narrow one. And they're going to go into, the wide one goes into this wide gap, and the narrow one obviously goes into the narrow gap. And we're going to rotate this to F32, and then we know it's lined up with that, and we should be able to just drop this right in. And this needs to go into this notch. So let's give her a go. See if I got that all lined up right. Oh, that should be closed. I'm going to rotate these levers and the aperture ring, and hopefully it can all snap in. There we go. So, while holding this down, there it is, right? Boom. You gotta put the elements in now. So, just put them in. Make sure there's no dust on them. Still looking good, no dust. Awesome! Now, rotate, if you rotate your focus, you just bring it back up again. And we're gonna put this on now. Like I was explaining at the beginning, you got this hole where the screw goes into, but you also have a hole drilled here. So you have to make sure you line this up with that hole. Other lenses, you just put it wherever and you put it in the screw, but you can't do that with this because the screw won't go in all the way, and the focus will come down and it'll hit the screw. So you got to make sure that you're lining that up, hole to hole. And then you start watching, right? You're looking for that hole. Alright, so that's lined up. We're going to put our little tiny screw in there. So now that screw is flush in there, you can take a little bit of black paint and dab that in there. If you get some paint rub off on there. Yeah, and you can rotate the focus down, works perfect. Take your nameplate, set it back in there. Again, I rotate it to the left until I feel it click. Okay, and then rotate to the right. These are cheap on eBay. They're a miracle to use. It feels like a silicone, so it's not as sticky as a rubber. I'm pretty sure it's a silicone, but it works good. Perfect. Perfect. And perfect. There we go. So I hope this helped you guys. If you're looking for some more weird, interesting, all different kind of videos and camera reviews, go to canonfastreviews.com, and I got just random stuff all over the place there for you. I hope you enjoyed this, hope this helped. And it's somewhat similar to other lenses, it's kind of like the 50mm and things, so hopefully this will help you on other stuff as well. I'm actually going to be cutting this down and AI converting it because it's not the nicest lens in the world. It's not a collector's piece, that's for sure. I mean, in condition, it's a great lens optically, but as far as condition, it's not a collector's piece, so I'm going to actually AI convert this, and it actually ups the value of it. But if you have a really nice condition one, I don't recommend doing the AI conversion by cutting it down. You can replace the ring, and those, I believe that they're still available, and they're factory rings that you can just put on. So yeah, anyways, hope this helps, and have fun. Thanks.